Hi, my name is Adrienne Van Voris. I'm a current intern at the National Atomic Testing Museum. This ashtray is one of my favorite artifacts that isn't displayed in the museum area, and I'd love to tell you about it. In 1988, this ashtray was exchanged between a Soviet scientist and an American scientist while collaborating on the Joint Verification Experiment, or the JVE. The origin of this item and the exact details of its entry into American hands are unknown, but we have some clues based on its design elements and the event it passed in the context of. The material, a dullish gray metal, is not necessarily unusual in ashtrays at the time, but was not as popular in the USSR as many glass or ceramic options. Its material, combined with the denser, harsher design elements, point to the possibility of the ashtray being created long before its collection in 1988. The Joint Verification Experiment took place at both the Nevada test site in the US and the Semipalatinsk test site in Kazakhstan. The image at the head of the ashtray depicts a lion with a humanoid face smoking a pipe. There is considerable lion imagery in Soviet artwork often resembling this style, meaning that it is likely that this ashtray was Soviet-made. Cradled by the lion is a long object with a bulbous end and tufted offshoots, the meaning of which is significantly more difficult to pin down. It could be the tail of the lion, but could also be a depiction of a plant or a mythical creature. Based on researching mythology of the region, this could be the mythical Zalont, for centuries associated with the city Kazan, one of the largest in the Soviet Federation, bordering Kazakhstan. This being said, there are many symbols resembling winged serpents, wyverns, dragons, and snakes across Eastern Europe and Central Asia, especially in the context of the more decidedly Soviet elements, like the lion, which were often placed with other animal imageries to show their nation's political union. All of this makes the exact origin of the ashtray difficult to place. Now, as fun as researching mythology is, I find the history of the Joint Verification Experiment equally interesting. The JVE was a unique set of tests in that it was the first time in decades that the US and USSR collaborated on a nuclear project in order to compare the efficacy of two methods of monitoring the scale of nuclear reactions. The two measurement types, teleseismic and hydrodynamic methods, were compared to each other and found to be similar in efficacy of measurement. The US's method, hydrodynamic, occurred on the site of the explosion, while the USSR's teleseismic method measured the explosion from as many as 30 miles away. The tests, which occurred on the tail end of the Cold War, were also notable for their cultural exchange, with members of the Soviet Academy of Sciences touring Las Vegas and swapping commemorative t-shirts, like the ones in our museum. These events, while only taking place between scientists and with no overt political purpose, can be interpreted as soft diplomacy, given the ongoing hostilities between the two countries and the wind-down of the Cold War. As inconsequential as this little ashtray seems, I see it as a tiny catalyst for the wind-down of US-Soviet hostilities at the end of the 20th century. And for that alone, it is worth analyzing and appreciating. Its cloudy origins certainly help, though. If you'd like to know more about the Joint Verification Experiment and Cold War-era nuclear testing, there's plenty to learn at the National Atomic Testing Museum. We'd love to see you there. If you happen to know anything about this object or other objects exchanged during the JVE, please let the museum know by contacting this email on screen. Thank you so much.